Again, we are back, and today we will be seeing uh, this business management's area regarding the purpose of planning. So, in the previous class, we discussed about the importance of planning, and now we will see what is the purpose behind this planning. Okay, actually, all these things are related, and when we think about the purpose of planning, the first thing is that the purpose of planning is to set up the business objective, and secondly, to ensure proper allocation of resources, and again to provide for future uncertainty. So, all these things we have already seen with regard to the importance of planning, and again also to ensure economy in operation. So all these things we discuss with regard to the importance of planning. I think it's actually a repetition of the areas that we have discussed. And again, another objective behind planning is to ensure the business stability, because we know to make a business stable, planning is essential. Okay, so actually and again to make coordination easy and to increase organizational effectiveness. Then another objective behind planning is to increase the to avoid the repetition of the certain business operations, to avoid wastage of efforts and resources, and to ensure proper use of the human and material resources, to bring about uniformity in methods and procedures, to help in decision making. So all these things are actually related with what we discussed in the previous class in our second session, that was in that session we have in detail discussed about the importance of planning, and the same thing comes here also in the objectives of planning, because importance or objectives, all these things are almost similar. So in this objectives means the target behind the reason behind the uh, doing the planning process. So since there is so much advantages, we are doing this planning. Okay, so planning is very much important in a business organization, and that's the reason why we are that's the objective behind the or reason behind we are using planning in a business organization. So that's the thing. So now I am going to the next topic, that is the planning process. So actually it's a planning is a process. It's a we know what's a process. The process means it's something, there's a flow of activity, and similarly planning is also having a flow of certain events or activities. So it is a process, and we will see the step by step things happen that should be taken or that should happen in planning. So the first thing is awareness of the opportunities. So why we should plan? The first thing is why we should plan, because we should plan certain things for future, because there are so many alternatives or opportunities for you or for me. For example, why you should plan your career, because in future you have so many opportunities in front of you. So out of that opportunity, which one of you should select, and what you should identify what are the cost and benefits of each opportunities or alternatives available for you. So that's the reason why we should go for planning. So first thing in the planning process is awareness of these opportunities. So actually I have already told you in the previous class about the finance budget. Actually, finance budget is a plan of action or plan of financial resources, and in a finance budget, which is a plan, what the government is doing is actually planning the various opportunities or various alternatives that can be used out of these financial resources. That is, if government is having 100 crore rupees as a revenue, that 100 crore rupees can be utilized for different purposes. There are many alternative uses for that 100 crore rupees. So that's the reason why government is planning that. So first thing regarding this planning process is that we should identify the opportunities. Second thing that we should do in this planning process is establishment of objectives. So while we do the planning, after convincing or making ourselves aware about these various alternatives or opportunities, we should set the objectives. So each organization each organization will have its own objectives, and surely a business organization should be aware of its objectives, and through these objectives only proper planning can be done. So the second thing is the establishment of objectives. And thirdly, the third thing this planning process, establishment of planning premises. So planning premises means the environment in which the planning is to be made, or the environment in which the planned activity should take place. So when we do the planning, we should have a concrete idea about where the planned activity will take place, and the premises of planning should be established well in advance, so that the planning and the decision making process can be effectively made. The premises means actually the environment in which the decisions or the planned activities will be going to take place, and business organization should be aware of its premises before going for this planning process. And in the next step in planning process is the developing the alternative courses of action. So while we go for planning, the thing that we should consider or what we should do is we should develop the alternative courses of action. What do you mean by alternative courses of action? We should identify and develop, that means analyze the various alternatives. That is, if you are planning about about your career, if you are planning about your career, you may have so many alternatives. That is, after BCom you can go for MCom, MBA. So we should identify and develop these alternative courses of action. So what is the way, so what is the route for different courses of action that we should identify? That is this developing this alternative courses of action. Then next thing is evaluation of the alternatives. So evaluation of alternative means once these alternatives are identified and developed, we should evaluate this. That is, after BCom you have the alternative to go for MBA and MCom. So you should evaluate this too. That is, what is the MBA, what is the cost of pursuing this course, and what is the advantage, what are the job potential opportunities of MBA. Similarly, you should identify and develop and evaluate the MCom course also. So hence we should evaluate this various alternatives in planning process. That is the next step, that is evaluation of alternatives. Then the sixth step in the planning process is the selection of the best alternative. So once we have developed these alternatives, once we have evaluated these alternatives, we should select one of these alternatives. That is, when you plan about your career, your future career, you may have MBA, MCom, CA, CS, so many alternatives. You evaluated all these alternatives, and you identified one of these alternatives, or you should select one of these alternatives. That is, for example, MBA. You selected MBA. So on the basis of your evaluation, you should select one of these alternatives that is best suited for you. So that is a selection of the best alternative. So when you plan your career now you are pursuing your second year course of BCom. So there are 2 years pending for you to go for this course. But you should plan that activity in advance, and you are planning that. So when you are planning it now, you will have so many alternatives, and out of these alternatives, you should select one of them now itself. So that is the planning process in career planning process. So similarly is the thing in the case of business management also. The planning process consists of these steps. Next is the formulation of the derivative plans. That is, once you have selected this alternative, one of these best alternative, then you will be going forward with that the one plan. And then that is the best plan that you have selected from the various alternative. So in order to support your plan, you should have some derivative plans also. So derivative plan means you have selected the one of the best plan, that is, once you have selected the best alternative you have set a plan, that is you have opted that is after your BCom you have many alternative BCom MCom, MBA, CA, CMA or like that, and one out of this you have selected you have opted the best alternative for you, that is MBA. Then you should, after selecting this MBA as your plan, or you are selected to pursue MBA after your BCom as your plan, you should develop derivative plans to support this MBA course or support your main plan, that is MBA, to pursue MBA. So what is derivative plan? So derivative plan means for example, so once you are selected to pursue MBA, then a derivative plan to go for coaching of this MBA, to get admission to MBA, or a derivative plan to go for high opportunities, or to explore opportunities to study MBA in a foreign country. Okay, so such derivative plans also should be should develop once we plan or once we go for this planning. So that is the formulation of derivative plans. Derivative plans are the plans that support the main plan. So here our main plan is pursue MBA. So in order to pursue MBA or to go for MBA course, you should have a derivative plan. So that derivative plan should be prepared. That is the next step in this planning process. Then next is a determination of the sequence of activities. So sequence of activities should be determined. That is another thing. What is sequence of activities? Step 1, 2, 3, 4. Such a way you should plan the sequence of things that you should do to attain your plan or to get executed with your plan. That is, to get admission, to pursue your plan of MBA after BCom, you should list out the activity sequence. That is first sequence number 1. That is, okay, you are planning to go for MBA, and sequence for that, to attain that plan, the first sequential activity that you should do is to go for register for CMAT. Then sequence number 2, go for coaching for CMAT exam. Sequence number 3, do homework, or like that. So in such a way you should list out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sequentially. That is activities that you should do, and that is the next step, that is determination of the sequence of activities. Then the 9th one is execution of the plan. So execution of plan means you have now written all these things. This is the planning work, the paperwork or the intellectual work regarding planning is now done. Now over. Now you should start the work. Okay, that is as per the sequence you should start. So it's similar to for example, if you want to go to for example, you are going for a journey, so for example to Vagavan. So from your home you have set in Google Map the route of Google Map. So the route is set. Now what you should do? You should once the Google Map route is set in your mobile phone, then you should start driving. So that driving process is execution. So here in planning, here in this case also, execution of plan means once the sketch or the plan is ready. For example, another example, the plan for construction of your house is with you. Now you should start construction. That is the execution. Construction. Once the plan is with you, or plan is ready, now the execution has to take place. Execution has to take place. How the execution has to take place? Yes, you should start the construction. You should start the work of the foundation, and then you should work with the other works of your house. So such a way, the realistic execution of the your house or construction of your house should take place. So that is the execution of the plan. Then the last step in planning is the evaluation of the plans. So once you have executed, once you have completed, or once you have started execution, there is a scope for evaluation of our plan. That is, you have started the construction of your house. You are having a plan with you, plan for the construction of your house, and that was provided by your engineer, and you started the construction, and now the foundation work is over. Foundation, you have constructed the foundation. Now there is a scope for evaluation. That is, you can compare the foundation built by the contractor, and you can compare that with the foundation, the plan given by the engineer. You should compare both of this, and you should find whether there is any mismatch in this realistic construction done by the contractor and the plan given by the engineer. So that is the evaluation process. That is comparison of the set of objectives with that of the attained target or work done. So that is the evaluation process. So that is the evaluation of plans. So now we will discuss, we are going to the next topic, that is barriers to effective planning. So barriers also we can say it's actually we are going to discuss about the disadvantages or negative factors regarding this planning. Surely planning has so many advantages or importance, all these things are there, but there are some barriers or negative effects of this planning. So that we will see now. The first thing is that since there are many alternatives in planning, it is difficult to select the best alternative. That is one aspect or barrier in planning. So we have many alternatives. That is, you have, after your BCom, you can go for MBA, MCom, CA, CMA, CS. All these things are there, but only one alternative can be selected. So that means out of these 5 alternatives, you can select only one alternative. That is okay. And out of this, it is very difficult to select the best one. That is, nobody can tell you which one is the best one. That is, whether MBA or MCom or CA or CS, which one is the best one? We cannot opt that, because there are so many factors that influence the selection of this. That is, your intellectual skill is to be compared. Then your hard work mentality should be compared. Then job opportunities, number of years that is available for you for the preparation. So all these things are to be considered before selecting this. Therefore, it's a difficult thing. So that is the first barrier in this effective planning. Second thing is planning restrict quick decision making. So you take the example of the flood during 2018. In 2018, there was a flood, and actually nobody planned that. Nobody was having a good idea to how to defend that flood, and so many difficulties arised out of that flood, because in such cases, in emergency cases, quick decision making is needed, and there we cannot go for planning. So in the case of this pandemic also, when the COVID-19 pandemic also came also, then also it was not easy for the government to take a quick decision. Okay, actually, in the normal course, all the activities are planned in advance by the government and authorities. But in certain cases, there comes a need for quick decision making, and in such cases, planning may not be effective because certain situations compel us to take quick decisions. Okay. So that's the second disadvantage or barrier in planning. And thirdly, this planning cannot ensure the accuracy and reliability of the forecast and predictions. So even if we go for planning, we cannot guarantee 100% effectiveness in our decision or in our planned decision making. So planning is a good thing, it will increase effectiveness and efficiency, but we cannot guarantee 100% accuracy. If we do planning, we cannot say if we do planning, the things will be 100% accurate. We cannot say like that, because there are chances for errors and mishaps. Therefore, planning cannot guarantee accuracy. So that's another disadvantage or a barrier. So In certain cases, the next step is, or the fourth step is that, fourth point is that, uh, planning will be costly. Surely planning is a costly affair. Okay, you take the example of, okay, in previously we were having in government administration, we were having a planning commission itself. You may be aware, and now we are having a Niti Aayog is there instead of this planning commission of India. And anyway, this planning process itself is a costly affair. It will take so many time. It will consume so many resources, money, and it's a costly affair. And therefore, we should reconsider whether we should go for planning or not on the basis of the results or contributions made by this planning and the cost incurred for planning. That is, if the result of a planning is the benefit out of a planning is only rupees 1,000 rupees, and the cost for planning process, that is the planning needs human efforts, human resource, and monetary resource also, and the cost of planning is rupees 10,000, and the benefit or profit that we can derive out of a planned decision making is only 1,000 rupees, then it is useless to go for planning, because you are making 9,000 rupees loss out of this planning. Okay, so in such a case, this is a disadvantage or barrier in planning process. Again, planning need not be effective because plans usually remain in paper. In many cases, we know, now the government is planning for a silver line railway line in Kerala, and we don't know whether it will be implemented. We know already government of India or Indian Railway have a plan to construct a Shabri railway line from Angamali to Erimeli, and the still that plan is in the hand of government, and so many resources or planning process have already done. Already government have gone ahead with many kind of planning and surveys or like that, but still the construction is not construction never took place, and still the paperwork or planning process is going on. So in such cases, this planning process will be a wastage only, and that's another disadvantage or barrier in planning. And in some cases, planning will be inflexible. So plans should actually be flexible, but in certain cases plans will be inflexible, and the implementation of the plans will be difficult, and such situations will create difficulties also. So that's another thing, another barrier in planning. And planning sometimes delays action. So we always complain that the work of the government or the functioning of administrative works in government departments is very slow. So actually the main reason behind the administrative delay in government works, particularly we know the construction regarding PWD roads, so it takes so much time, or the construction of this public properties, all these things take so much time. The main reason behind this delay in the public departments is the huge amount or huge time that is taken for planning process. So government always plan the things in detail, and government always, or government officials will always study the different dimensions of various events or activities in government departments, and that is the reason why many of the government activities are taking so much time. Okay, so before going for construction of a road or a government road or a PWD road, the PWD department will take so much time for planning. That is, it will go for surveys, and it will it will analyze and plan the cost. All these things. That is, all these things are well planned by the government departments, and that is the reason why so much delay is taking place, and it is a disadvantage of this planning also. Again, it encourages a false sense of security against the uncertainty. So many of us think that if we go for planning, everything will be safe. Actually, it's not like that. Even if we plan the things, things are not safe, and it's actually a false security feeling that we consider. Because of planning, it is, I have already we have discussed that that is planning will not give us a 100% guarantee about the certainty of an event. And the centralized planning and is taking place in many institutions and organizations, and such a centralized planning will reduces the creativity of the subordinates or staff. That's another disadvantage, because if you are an employee in an organization, and everything is planned by the if everything is planned by the superior authority, and you are only just a executor, then you will not have any creative input or role in that organization. So you will feel tired about you doing the same thing every time that is planned by others. Okay, so that is also another drawback of planning. And again, planning results in rigidity in managerial actions also. So rigidity in managerial action means every time everything will be given by the superiors. Every time there will be rules, procedures, and such a rigidity will be brought into the business organization or administration due to this planning. So we all know about red tapeism in business, so no, not in business, actually in the government administration we all complain about this red tapeism. So actually the reason behind this red tapeism is this rigidity in administration due to this plans, or because of this policies, procedures, etc. So in such a way, so these plans are actually creating disturbances for us also. Okay, so with this I am winding up this session. So that's all for in this session. Thank you all. Thank you.